Skyrim's combat is 12 years old and over time it grew just a little bit clunky. I'm going to show you 9 ways to bring a modern state-of-the-art action combat gameplay experience to your Skyrim, with just a couple of mods and easy tweaks that you can do today. Subscribe to the channel, drop a like if you enjoy, and let's jump right into the meta. The first thing we want to look at is hit impact feedback. A most satisfying feeling when you slam upon your enemies is crucial to make the experience of attacking more weighty and impactful. Hit stop and screen shake are among the most important effect features when it comes to satisfying combat. A screen shake is self-explanatory. You crunch in for damage, the screen shakes oscillating, just as you can see here in Black Desert Online. The hit stop effect makes the character pause in motion for just a couple of milliseconds on hit to simulate weapon impulse. Monster Hunter World is a very good example for this, as you can see. For Skyrim, the Precision mod delivers both hit stop and screen shake features that add real weight to your attacks. Alongside many other features, it offers highly customizable feedback of smacking the crap out of your enemies. You just crank up that screen shake slider a lot, all the way up to the 40s or 50s even, and leave the hit stop settings as they are for now. You can tinker around with the rest of the settings later to achieve the most rewarding experience for your liking. Furthermore, to make your attacks feel as impactful as possible, you want enemies to have a direct visible reaction to your blows. Poised Stagger Overhaul mod adds a whole new level of responsiveness when it comes to weighty strikes and the power of impact feedback. New animations for flinching, staggering and knockbacks will represent your brute force visually and are therefore a must-have for all melee maniacs. Another big factor, of course, when it comes to feeling of impact is a good weapon animation. Luckily for you, there is an all-in-one animation pack that covers every single weapon type and is therefore an uncomplicated install and forget solution for beating up your foes in a stylish fashion. Nordic Animation Pack for MCO adds the feel of a dynamic and powerful attack to your character for whatever weapon you choose. This is done by somewhat acrobatic but yet not over the top attacks and combos. Now, one aspect of impactful combat is extremely underrated and oftentimes overlooked, and that's what I call the HP percentage impact. If you hit a spongy enemy a billion times before he goes down, you'll probably not feel very powerful. To solve this problem, we play the game on the lowest difficulty setting. The way Skyrim difficulty scaling works is a very simple damage dealt versus damage taken ratio. For the higher difficulties, you just deal less damage and take more. Lesser difficulties let you deal more damage and you take less. Now, I know what you're gonna say, challenge is very important to the game flow and you can't just simply take that away, but trust me, we will absolutely make up for this later. For now, it's just important to make your individual hits feel more powerful. If you play your action games on a controller, you know that apart from the intuitive navigation and the kickback on couch factor, there is another huge advantage of controller gameplay, and that is the haptic feedback on your hits. The Rumble mod adds fantastic controller vibration features, and that way you can literally feel your gigantic greatsword cracking down on a Draugr's head. This will increase your sense of immersion and impact through tactile feedback. Interface feedback. This one is a real game changer. Now let's look at Elden Ring here for a second. The moment we strike an enemy, the missing amount of health will be displayed in yellow or orange on the normally red health bar, just for a couple of seconds. Assassin's Creed Valhalla does a similar thing in an interesting way, and actually League of Legends is another very prominent example for this feature. But why is this so effective? I will tell you. This feature offers an incredibly satisfying answer to a very simple question we gamers always have. How big did my damage just actually hit? This is called a lazy bar or a phantom bar, and in Skyrim this is actually very easy to replicate. The True HUD mod reworks health and resource bars and offers the phantom bar by default. All you have to do now is change the color to your liking by using a hex color picker and copy the color code of your choice into the MCM. I chose a very Elden Ringy style, but just go try some things and you'll be amazed by the results in your experience. Damage numbers. There is a reason why games like Diablo 3, Lost Ark or even World of Warcraft feel so good in their attacks. And that's huge damage numbers. And there's one simple reason for this. Getting lucky is fun. The tad bit of variance makes up for most satisfying moments when your numbers are spiking out higher than usual. This is a direct testimony and measurable evidence of your damage impact, which will just straight up increase your feeling of accomplishment. Normal hits in white and big yellow crits to stand out is what we go for with the mod floating damage numbers. Download the Better Damage Numbers preset, copy my values into your INI file and get ready to shout your crit high scores through the entire house. For this you just need the next very small mod that has a huge impact on your gameplay. It's called Critical Correction. This is a mod that adds 5% crit chance to all your physical attacks, which gives you a small but essential dopamine rush every time a big yellow number pops up. output randomness. It's just like in the casino. That's the stuff happiness is made of, and also addiction, by the way. This is a very small mod, but a real game changer. Trust me, once you install it, you never want to go without it. There is no such feeling as emerging victorious over a literal horde of enemies. Some of your favorite games built exclusively upon this premise to boost your feeling of reward and challenge. The Diablo series and especially Lost Ark are outstanding examples for this. We want to bring the same feeling to Skyrim by increasing your sense of satisfaction when defeating just a horde of enemies. For this we just straight up have to increase the count. Increased enemy spawns times 3 will, you guessed it, just triple the amount of hostile encounters. Now this may sound like a lot, and it really is, but keep in mind that we turned down our difficulty setting earlier. Remember when I said we're gonna make up for it? This mod goes all the way to do the trick. Standing against an actual army of enemies will signal reward due to the simulation of a more challenging problem solved to your brain, which equals more fun. Next up we have something that is very simple on the first glance, but super important and I'd say not very obvious for many gamers and game developers. The size of your enemies. We need a good mix of small enemies, mid-range beefy ones and a few larger ones to stand out. This will allow for natural comparison to happen inside of your brain that tells you a larger enemy poses a bigger threat and equals more challenge compared to a small one, and if you kill it, it will be more rewarding. All that happens through comparison of between the creatures from different sizes themselves and in relation to the player character. In search for a way to implement this principle into Skyrim, I scoured the Nexus and I found a lot of badass looking enemies in different sizes, but not really a suitable solution for what I had in mind to implement it to my game. So for the first time ever I had to make my own Skyrim mod. I present to you more monstrous enemies, bandit allies. Now the bandits have reinforced their army by recruiting goblins, ogres, minotaur tribes and even more dangerous foes that will stand in your way, both on the surface of Skyrim and deep down in the dungeons of the land. Now don't get it twisted, I did not create those new enemies, I just implemented the most badass ones I like the most, from Mihail and Fourth Unknown into the leveled lists to encounter bigger sized enemies and cooler looking creatures on my adventures. As I'm working a full-time job, I sadly cannot support this mod with troubleshoots and proper testing, so if anyone wants to pick up on the idea of the mod and improve it, feel free to knock yourself out. For me it works like a charm and I hope you'll get it to working too. Jump on the Discord to let the community help you out when modding gets tough. Hey, and if you haven't seen this video, you should watch it.